It's your boy, Comedic Malcolm Hill, and this is the conversation each and every Thursday night from 7 until 8.
It's Tuesday at 7.
Oh, damn. You know I'm nervous. I'm nervous. And I don't even know what day it is. I'm nervous. I'm not going to front. I am nervous today, but I'm dead nervous. And you don't see me nervous at all, but there's a reason why I'm nervous, but we can't go into details on that. But we have a beautiful guest, but my co-host is here.
What up? Big Kyle, a.k.a. B-Boy Scholar on Instagram.
Make sure you follow him on Instagram at a.k.a. B-Boy Scholar. Is the funniest name. You cannot forget that, a.k.a. B-Boy Scholar. For all old heads, you know, you can follow him on a.k.a.
There's no a.k.a.
Oh.
B-Boy Scholar.
Oh, B-Boy Scholar. Right. And I'm a little nervous, but I'm going to fight through this, right? It's like a first day me doing stand-up comedy. But this is a laid-back show today. Today we're talking about street violence. We're talking about violence.
We're talking about gun violence today. Obviously, people are still kind of reeling from the mass shooting yesterday. Only 8 days after a mass shooting in Atlanta, or in the Atlanta area. Now we got a mass shooting in Colorado. Interesting thing is Colorado has had a lot of mass shootings. A lot.
Yeah.
Columbine, Aurora. Now this one. I think it's like a couple others that they had out there. Either way.
We're going to get into that. We have a special guest that's going to come on that knows. Matter of fact, we got a couple of people actually that's going to come on. We got my man Ubona Higgins. He's going to be on as well. And we have
Dr. Fatima Hafiz.
Yes.
And she's going to come on, and she is simply awesome.
Yeah.
So everybody in the comments, we're going to keep that respectful. It's a little bit of a change of gear from the past few weeks.
Oh, yeah. I got my new shirt on. I got my new shirt on. I got a button up. I never ever wear a button up. So I'm in the button up today, and this is a whole nother situation today.
And we didn't coordinate this. I'm wearing a button up today.
Yeah, every time, right? Well, hey, when we hang together,
that's the vibe today.
That's the vibe. Yeah. This is more of a serious conversation. Because as far as gun violence, when I was growing up myself, I've been a part of a lot of situations where, I should have been killed. You see what I'm saying? Like a lot of situations, and I'm so blessed to, to be here because I actually got away a lot of situations very close. Even one time, right, my aunt used to, she used to get stuff off the trash back in the day. People don't do that no more. But she would drive me in the car with her. Oh, go pick up that lamp. And I'm going out the car, picking up the lamp.
Oh, no, people still do
that. Oh, they still do that?
Oh, yes.
My aunt her house is like Sanford and Son. It's like all kinds of stuff from everybody's house in the neighborhood.
Northeast Philly, Latino brothers be driving around in the Fred Sanford truck, picking up everything.
So I gets out the car, and I goes and I'm picking up something, and I'm walking back to the car, and this is in the wintertime, it was snowing, and a car rides up, right? And the window rolls down. Now, back in the day, everybody know me because I used to, do a lot of different things, right? So the window rolls down, and a gun comes sticking out of the window, the back window, right? And me, I'm not used to people at that time really trying to shoot me.
Yeah.
So I'm walking towards it, holding this thing, talking about who is that, right? And somebody said, "That's not him, that's Malcolm." And then they drove off. To this very day, I don't know who that was. But if that person wasn't in that car, they thought they was gonna shot me. But somebody said, "That's not him, that's Malcolm." And that's one situation where I'm lucky to even be here right now.
Man,
it's a couple of them like happen like that with me, but other kind of situations too.
I mean, it's a lot, and for us, we're two black men, we're catching it from all sides. The level of fear for us is different, because I could be walking up here. How many people I meet in Philly be like, "You look familiar." And when I hear that shit, I cringe.
Right.
I don't want to look like nobody.
Yeah.
I don't want the thought of nobody looking like me, except for my father and my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when people say that, I be like, yeah, I hope whoever I look like is all right. But I've been in situations, definitely like parties and things like that where shots rang out. I did have when I was working security at an after hours in Philly.
Right.
this we put this guy out.
Yep. Always happens. Put a guy out.
Actually he came in with the robber. So at this point I'm running security. I'm not just bouncing. So they come and get me, and I say, well, yeah, look, blood, you can't come in.
Right.
You coming in wilding. You're not coming in. Come back next week. Cool it off.
Right.
Because you're coming in hot. You can't come in here like that.
Right.
So send him home because he got into an argument with one of my guys at the door. So the guy leaves. 2-3 hours later, they come and get me. They was like, yo, that kid is out front. And we was at 22nd and Cecil B. Moore. So it was like a little, like the setup was wild. Like you go down the hallway and it opens up and there's like, almost like a community center or whatever. So this kid comes in. Well, I go out there to talk to him. I'm like, yo, man, it's like, and I was pretty chill as a security dude. Like, I'm not here to puff my chest out and all like, yeah, what's going on, man?
Right.
He's ranting and raving, going back and forth. And I'm like, look, I told you can't come in. Just go ahead about it. Like, cool it off. And then next week you in. You come in here, twirl, do whatever it is you do. This kid reaches in his pocket. And I just happened to look down and saw the butt of a pistol coming out of his pocket. It was like a 38 long. It was like an old gun. Like you could tell it was probably like his grandfather's gun or something like that. But he's bringing that out of his pocket, and as soon as I saw it, I snatched it.
You snatched out his hand?
Hell yeah!
You know some type of.
I wasn't gonna let him keep it.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You crazy? I was like, oh.
Okay.
So I snatched the gun out of his pocket and popped open the cylinder, dropped the bullets out. Boom, 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 boom. It was fully loaded. All 6 shots. Dropped that out, put that in my bag. I started to hit him with it because I was mad. Like he was like, I wasn't gonna do nothing with it. I was like, why you pull it out?
Man, that's crazy. Like this is another thing that happened. Like when I first started doing comedy, this promoter named Johnny Topcat, rest in peace, Johnny Topcat. Right, we had a show, and it was 2 shows, and when I came to the show, it was like it's at 5th and Island. I got to the show, and this girl was in the room. These 2 girls sitting at the bar, and they said, "Hey, how you doing, Malcolm?" And they all loud and everything. They was like, "Man, how much y'all be making?" Like that, right? She said, "How much y'all be making?" Right? So I remember Funny Mike saying, he was with us. He said, "We don't be making nothing. They we pay them like that, right?" So check this out. The 2 girls, right? They left, right? No, I mean they went to the show. They came into the show. Next thing you know, we did the show, and it was time for the second show, so we had to let the first people out, right? And John had paid me for the show already, but John used to stand out front of the show and sell tickets in front of the show. Right. And he would sell tickets to people who was buying tickets at the door, and he would stick the money in his shirt like that, right? So next thing you know, I go back in and I'm doing the second show, and John walks the bartender to her car. Right. When he walks the bartender to her car, it's all on take 2. He walks the bartender to her car. He comes walking back, and the 2 girls were standing there with these 2 guys. And the 2 girls pointed him out. And next thing you know, the 2 girls, they walked away. And the boy pulled the gun out and said, "Give me your money." And John was like, "Man, ain't nobody got no money." And like smacked the gun like that, right? Well, the guy shot him twice. And he only had like $40 in his pocket because he had just paid me, all the money. So the dude ran and everything. This is in broad daylight. This is like it wasn't even dark. Like you could see people on the bus looking, and the guy had the gun to him and shot him and everything, right? And went through his pockets while he was on the ground. Now, what's so crazy about the situation is when John got shot, everybody came running out, and he on the ground, and he's like, "I'm okay," because I didn't see no blood, hardly nothing, right? So I'm like, okay, he cool, and this, that, and the other, right? So the ambulance came, and so I'm thinking, okay, he's cool, this, that, and the other, and he died like 3-4 days later. But the guy shot him in front of everybody, like a bus riding down the street, everything, and this, that, and the other. And the thing about it is, he didn't get that much time, which is crazy to me, right? And that guy,
he killed another black person.
Maybe that's the reason. And that got me to say, man, I might start needing security because people think you got a whole lot of money because people don't have nothing, and they think you got a whole lot of money. And, I remember Michael Blackston that came there, this is when he was in the beginning, he would say,
Rob said he remembered that.
Yeah. It's a lot of
Rob.
people. What up, Rob? Oh, Rob Minor. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, Mike Blaston came to that room. This was in the hood. This John wanted to bring comedy to the hood because he was like, you know, everybody keeps going downtown,
right.
And I want to bring comedy into the hood. And
local bar
establishment, man. He owned it, man. And the man was trying to turn his little small bar into a comedy club. And I'm gonna tell you, you know, it was becoming a comedy club because every comedian all over the country was calling me up like, Malk, I need to do your room, da da da. And the man shot the man and killed him over $40.
$40.
That's what he got out of his pockets, right? So you know, it's a lot of senseless killings that's going on, and it's like, you know, when I look at the shootings, it's like people are shooting people over $40 over. You know what people are
Instagram beef.
If Instagram beefs, talking
Snapchat beef.
Snapchat, and people are killing people. Like I used to sit back and think, all these people in prison, and nobody's in prison for trying to get $100 million. Everybody's in prison for $40 or $80.
$20.
Yeah, $20. Yeah, like, what you in here for? $40. What you? Nope. Is anybody in here that tried to get $14 million? Raise your hand. There's nobody. Everybody $40. He said something. Is either $20, $40, or a woman. Jealousy over a woman, or a woman is messing with this guy now. Is either small bit of money or a woman. Is why people are killing each other.
Or some level of disrespect. I mean, and you know, as brothers, we can catch it out there from the neighbor. We could catch it out here from these cops. We could go into the Walmart and, you know, some, you know, disaffected white guys having a bad day, and comes in and shoots the place up.
Right.
You know, it's you know, it's a rough situation. I mean, you know, luckily, you know, some of us can like find, you know, some humor, some reason to keep laughing. But, you know, I can't speak, you know, to the people that have lost loved ones in these situations. As a segue, let's do a quick shout out. Miss Hines.
Shout out. Hello, Miss Hines.
Miss Hines.
Like Duncan Hines?
Yeah.
Miss Hines. Hello.
And she's chocolate. Yes, sir.
Hello, Miss Hines.
So, 20th Street Darnie.
20th Street, okay.
T Group,
okay.
Doctor.
Okay.
So, well, you can jump in in a couple minutes.
Right.
Rick Money, 1967.
Okay.
Now this is actually going to be a little bit somber too. You know, my friend Allie is on. She just lost her mother. Allie, from the bottom of our hearts, you know, you have our deepest condolences. You already know. You know, shout out to your mom.
Shout out to your mom.
Sorry for your loss. So let's see. Light skin, Kissy Brown Sugar.
Kissy Brown Sugar.
So you be clowning me about my names. Look at this. Look at this, right?
Kissy Brown Sugar.
Kissy Brown Sugar.
I need to find out what she looks like.
Yeah, I bet she can cook.
Anybody with the name Kissy Brown Sugar.
Kissy Brown Sugar. So Bo One Diggity.
Okay.
E-Job, welcome back.
Oh, you know who that is. Oh,
Ken
Lord.
740G.
Don't let that nigga on here. Do not let that fool on here. But go ahead. Obona Hagen. Shout out to Obona Hagen. He's about to come on here from Philly Word Magazine.
Yes. So Philly Word Live. What up?
Yeah.
Let's see. JT with the cam.
JT with the cam. Okay, that's what's up. I know who that is. I know exactly who that is.
My man Rob Minor. What up?
Minor. Yep,
what up, big dog?
What up?
Sissy Dash.
Okay.
Jess Byrne. And let's see. Bakim. I don't know if it's B Hakeem or Bakim.
Bakim. Oh yeah. I know. That's my man. That's my homie.
Okay.
He follows and supports my movement. A lot of these people support my movement, man. I'm glad y'all on here.
The Real Joy Campbell.
Okay.
And it's only one Robin.
It's only one Robin?
It's only one.
It's only one Robin. That's it. Ain't
so
no
that's
more.
like the Jet Li movie. She going around killing all the Robins.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It's only one Robin left. Okay? That's her name.
Sunshine Twine.
Sunshine Twine.
I'm a queen first. Yes,
she's a queen first.
Yes, she
is a queen first.
To
be. She's a queen first. Shout out to you for watching.
Dave Gordon 46.
That's that guy. I'm not gonna say what he does, but that guy is funny.
So Dothead J. I feel like that's a little racist. No, I'm just kidding.
Dothead J. How do people be thinking of these names to be on here? But Anyway.
So,
oh yeah, I'm queen first. Okay.
Yes.
She said she loves us. Mwah. We love you back.
So we're trying to have this conversation, and really, we're just really gonna have an informal conversation. I was just telling Malcolm before we went on, like, I thought about bringing like all the stats and figures and all these other things, like I would normally do, and I was just like, I don't want to do it.
Right.
You know, I didn't want to look them up. I didn't want to bring them. I know that Philly has really been wilding this past year.
It's man. Oh,
you know, like quadruple shootings and.
But let me say this. Yeah. One thing that I noticed, right? If you watch the news, right? Well, it ain't even just the news. You watch people say it's black on black crime all the time, right? You know, black people are killing black people, right? But then I said to myself, you know, that sounds logical, right? But then what makes me think that Chinese people ain't killing Chinese people? Like in China, what is Chinese waiting for a Mexican to come past there to shoot them? No, Chinese is killing Chinese people too. Right. But they make it, I mean,
they doing it here in Philly too.
Right, but I'm just saying, black on black crime because we around black people. Chinese people in China is most likely killing Chinese people. They're not waiting for some Puerto Rican guy to come walking down the street and shoot him. They killing Chinese people. So hold on a second. So when you watch the news, and I've realized whenever you watch the news, you can watch the news on almost every channel, right? And you see black people killing black people. But then I say, well, wait a minute. All week, not one white person killed another white person, right? All the news is black people killing black people. So you telling me for the past 2 weeks, if you watch the news, not one white person killed another white person?
Well, statistically speaking,
I mean,
you know, not to put on my nerd glasses.
They just showing us all the problems.
The term black on black crime is a fallacy anyway. People kill whoever lives around them.
Yeah.
So you go to the Puerto Rican neighborhood,
right.
It's Puerto Ricans
killing
Puerto Ricans.
Right.
You go to the Vietnamese neighborhood, go to South Philly. Some of the Southeast Asians, they get it popping in them streets.
But all the newscasters are in West Philly,
right,
showing black people killing black people. So why is it white people ain't killing no white people on the news?
Because that doesn't fit the narrative that they want to put forth. So, like, even with these shootings, now be very mindful. Watch how this shooting yesterday is covered versus the shooting last week. I bullshit you not. Watch how these two shootings are covered. Now, I heard the dude's name that did the shooting yesterday. It sounds Arabic. He looked like a white guy. And you know us, we play the game. When they hear a mass shooting, we be like, please don't let it be a black person. Please don't let it be a black person. But they're going to cover these stories, I imagine, very differently. Just like your local news covers stories very differently.
They're always in West Philly showing black on black crime.
Well,
they know white person shot and killed a white person. All week they need to show only white crimes. Don't show no more black crime. We know this.
Well, then they just post up in Kensington.
Right, the only thing you got to do is go Kensington, Allegheny. Right. But I'm just saying, like, if you watch the news, it's just all what black people are doing.
Right.
And Chinese people ain't killing Chinese people?
Yeah.
Puerto Ricans ain't killing Puerto Ricans? Yeah. Is that what they're saying? But blacks only kill blacks?
You know, the only time I've ever really heard that term used was in response to police on black violence. You know, I did, and this is kind of like an aside, but I did a project with my kids one night. My kids were over, and we were watching the news, and my son, you know, was always very bright, right, very smart kid. My son says, "Dad, you know, it seems like all the bad stuff is happening with black people," and
that's what they show.
You know, and I'm like, all right. So when we watch the news, I was like, we'll do a little game called White Story, Black Story.
White Story, Black Story.
White Story, Black Story. You can do any news channel in Philly, White Story, Black Story.
Somebody send me a request if you want to come on and join in with us before the great doctor comes on. Somebody send a request.
So, yeah, Dr. Hafiz, you can come in whenever you're ready.
Right.
But so White Story, Black Story was, and I'll give you a couple examples just to see. So, local biker gang gets together to do a charity ride to benefit a kid with cancer.
That's the story. Black one, West Philly, a guy shot a guy over another girl coming out the window.
So that charity event, that was a white story.
Right.
You know, 4 people shot in Overbrook Park, black story.
Yeah.
You know, little girl with a teenage mother steals a purse out of a furniture store and they have it on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Petty theft.
Right.
Figure it wouldn't be on the evening news, right?
Right.
On the evening news.
Mm-hmm.
You know, black story.
Yeah.
You know, kid in Westminster, you know, creates a lemonade stand, which goes against code violations, but creates a lemonade stand,
right,
to you know, help his grandfather dealing with COVID. White story,
right?
You know, it's the framing of the stories and what stories they choose to show.
I don't know how to. I don't. If anybody knows how to send a request, someone wants to know how to send a request. How do you
So that's
send
not
a
the
request? Oh, that is her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. We need to figure out how to send a request.
You know,
I think
request her. She should be up to date.
I gotta figure out how to do that too. Okay. Well, maybe if you log off and then log back on, if she logs off, it'll say request. Hopefully, she refreshed her phone too. That would be. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If she didn't refresh her Instagram. What do you call it? Update. You got to update your Instagram.
No, I mentioned that earlier.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So see if you can request.
I don't know. Nope. I don't know how to do it. You know, I don't know how to do this thing either. Why am I the one that's working the boards here? I don't know how to send a request.
Because our producer got all the rat.
No. Go live with, okay, her request. They might have.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Hey! Can you hear us? Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
So we figured it out. So this is not a platform that I function on very often.
I don't know how to do it either. That was my first time sending a request to somebody. And did I send a request to you or did you send it to us?
You did a good job. I'm here.
Thank you. Well, as long as you're here, that's all that counts. Yes.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Absolutely a pleasure to see you again. It's awesome that you could join the conversation. Thank you very much for taking the time. I know you are a busy woman. Mm-hmm. So we are having a conversation.
So I just wanted to go ahead, brother.
Oh no, please take the floor. I'm listening.
No, I just want to say thank you, and thank you for the uplift and also the dynamic of the examples that you gave about your experience with this particular topic as it relates to gun violence, and particularly gun violence as it relates to our community. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody that's out there. I want to say I'm sending all love, light, and joy and peace to us as a community and to everyone. And I also want to say that I have my partner in this space with me because this is something that he actually does a lot of work in communities in New York, here around violence and gun violence.
Right. Yes,
and
sir.
So I just want to bring him into the space with us. So my name is Fatima. Either people call me Dr. Fatima or Fatima. And I am the mother of 8. I have 4 Black males that I have raised not by myself, and I want us to realize that a lot of our young men and women, I have 4 daughters, right? And that there was a community, there's a community that raised our children, and we've lost a sense of that. I also want to say that I am a CEO of a company. I'm a high school dropout to a PhD. And everything is possible if, in fact, we start to pay attention to our power and stop looking at other people's power to change any conditions that we have. And so it's a pleasure. Just thank you for inviting me to just be in this conversation. And I'm hoping my husband said, I want to be in that conversation.
The more the merrier. Yes. So absolutely.
Yeah.
We're on the and please tell them what you currently do and give them a little bit of information about your organization.
Great. So currently what we do is we create and design conversations where the conversations are volatile emotionally and allows people to actually understand and be in the conflict without the violence. So there is a dynamic that happens when we think about conflict. We want to resolve the conflict, but conflict is a part of our human nature, to be in conflict with something. And it's not conflict that needs to be resolved, it's conflict that needs to be expressed. And many times our young people, we don't get a chance to actually express our conflict in a space that will allow us to speak in a way that will free us, so that we can heal from historical conflicts with the system, with the racism, with the historical context of enslavement, that we are carrying a lot of pain. And so that pain is actually expressing itself, and my husband called it induced culture. So it's an induced culture that we carry that is creating some of the dynamic that we're experiencing. So the work that I do is really centered around healing. It's centered around how do we heal in the face of all that is continuously happening to us acutely, chronically, generationally, and generating and creating spaces for that to happen. So that's one aspect of my company, my organization. The other aspect is that we provide professional development for educators. You know, my background is I looked at fear and care in white teachers when they are servicing, supposedly educating our children. And I began thinking about the disaffection from formal schooling of Black boys and why it might have been sane to do that, even though it's created something else in terms of the expression of what our pain is. And so that's one, providing professional development for educators and human service providers and activists, you know, developing their skill to really hone questions that allow people to express their conflicts. And then the last thing that our company focuses on is these healing spaces, creating spaces where people can actually be in an education process that allows them to find their own passion. Like, this system does not want us to find our power. And so we have to decide that our power does not lie in this system. And so this is part of the work that we do at the T group. And somebody's like, the T, you know, what's the T, right? So the T is that we gotta rise up. We gotta do a great uprising. And it's not, you know, so, and part of that is with our young people recognizing and realizing that they do have a voice. I did some work in a community, and I worked with a group of young Black males, and they didn't feel they had a right to the city. Because they didn't feel they had a right to the city, they stayed within a particular territorial area. Now, what the system and people would say is that they are the blame for the violence. But the truth is, everybody has some blame in the violence. And so the work that we provided had to do with, where is the violence in your group? So it could be the government officials, it could be human service providers, it's the police, it's everybody is expressing some level of violence. And so that's a lot of what I do and our company, our organization does, is to start to help unpack that so that we can start to be in real conversations about our real information, about our real pain, about why we are expressing the way we're expressing and what we need to do about it. So that's one. And the last thing, I just want to introduce my husband. This is Onaje Muid.
Okay.
And he is doing some work with Cure Violence. And he's also telling
up a little bit. It's very close.
He can tell you. Oops, sorry. He can tell you.
He's looking at you like, what do you got it up on me for?
If you could have seen his face a little bit more.
It's peace and blessings. It's good. It's good to see the work that you're doing, and I got to learn how to do this Instagram thing too. I ain't got a clue.
And me either. That was the first time I sent a request to anybody since I've been on it. So I
ain't even did it yet. So I'm way behind the game.
through it.
But thank you, Dr. Fatima Hafiz. But I'll tell you this: I throw pebbles, but she throw boulders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so she's the real deal. When we talk about violence, I got a thesis that I'm looking at, and she just tapped me on the foot. She said, "Don't even say it." So bye. Here we go. She just tapped me on the foot.
She said, "Oh no, we're not doing that today." He said, "Goodbye." It ain't no talking back. Ain't no bye.
So the work I do with a few groups, many of them being trained through this model called Cure Violence, says that it's a disease, right? But guess what? If you're not talking about where the disease come from, that's only half the story. So they still wind up blaming us, like, well, you're diseased, and that's why you're creating this problem. No, the problem comes from national oppression. It comes from national. When a group is denied the ability for self-reliance and self-determination, it comes out sideways. So the work I do is work with those brothers who go out in the street every day to try to. They're called violence interrupters. So I work with them to help them understand what trauma that they're dealing with, and how does that impact their ability to do their job, and how does it impact their ability to stay together. So it's been a blessing. I've been working with this particular group in Staten Island for about 5 years, but have started to work with other groups as well. So that's it in a nutshell.
Could I ask you, what do you think the violence is so big in Philadelphia the way it is like this in Philadelphia? Why do you think it is so much violence? And we didn't even get started with the year of people coming outside yet. Why do you think it is so much violence going on right now, especially right now?
I don't know if my wife would stop patting my foot. I can tell you.
She's still tapping your foot. She's running that.
She's patting that foot, man. So check it out. I got to go with it, right? So your brothers deserve to hear this first.
Go ahead.
When we talk about bulimia, right? People who starve themselves.
Yes.
Guess what? It ain't about the food. It's about the power they don't have in their life that gets expressed. The mind is saying one thing, but the body suffers, right? When rape takes place, it ain't about the sex. It's about the power.
Right.
Well, guess what? If we look at the community as one body, the community doesn't have power itself, and it comes out as what? Gun violence.
You know,
bulimia, it's not about the food. It's about the power. Huh?
I said, I know she was tapping your foot the whole time while you were saying that.
Yeah, she stopped patting for a minute. So I think she's saying, okay, maybe. So I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it from the point of view of the community being an organic body. And this is the thing, remember, this is the thing that this country has done everything possible to make sure that we're not feeling each other as one body, because once you have one body, that's power. So they'll allow conditions to fester. And let me tell you this: the CDC for 20 years defunded any gun research while we popping each other off every day. 20 years, not 5, not 10, not for 20 years. CDC couldn't do gun violence research.
Wow! Because of that
20 years. It just happened in the fall, where they came up with a little 25 million, right? To say, oh, okay, we'll do something to say that we're doing something. So how do you deprive a community of funding on research, on gun research for 20 years, and not be held criminally responsible for that? So I'm saying there is these dynamics
to keep us.
one of the things that always stands out to me, and a point that I've made, you know, quite a few times, like when we focus just on, you know, the violence in our communities, and people will say, well, you know, that you know, they'll use the same old tired tropes, the black on black violence, and where's the community leaders and this, that, and the other. Well, you know, I don't hear any call for community leaders when, you know, my man shot up Las Vegas. In fact, they spoke very well of him. They said, oh, he had everything going for him. You know, D.L. Hughley said they will treat a black victim worse than they will a white perpetrator. You know, yes. and we can see that play out. But part of the hypocrisy, and I think people take these youths as stupid, and I know they're not. Part of the hypocrisy is you can't tell him, that kid that's protecting his so-called corner or his so-called neighborhood or his so-called crew, not to use violence when you took this country by violence. That's right. You know, you put down any resistance through violence. You took everything you have, you got through violence. As a country, you know, we took slaves. We didn't just ask them to get on the boat. We took them through violence. You know, so you can't, you know, it's hypocritical to say that, oh, but violence isn't the answer. Well, why do we go in Iraq and Afghanistan? You know, why do we go to Vietnam? Why do we go to all these places which we ain't fought anybody in any white country since the World War II?
Do you think it's a way to slow down or try to stop this type of violence that's going on, especially in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I don't think that we can stop violence just because of the words that the brother just said, that this country, the DNA of this country has been forged through violence, through genocide, through enslavement. It has been forged through that. So I don't think that we can eliminate violence right away, like, you know, just stop violence. But I do think that we can create spaces so that violence is not what we go to in order to survive. And I do think that isolation for a lot of young Black males is isolation. When you talk about protecting their neighborhood, protecting their corner, that is the expression of what Onaje was talking about in terms of power. That there's this need for power, and Black men have been denied that since enslavement. And there's a way that denial is structured inside of this system. And when Black women and Black men are in the spaces, it's almost like that there is a division, like we want to understand each other. We want to be there for each other. But there is something that this system does to keep a wedge between our real communication with one another. And so I know that it is about 7:42, and I want to share with you all, I don't know how many of you, our brothers, have you heard of this film called American Skin?
No. Yeah, I just put it in my watch list.
Good.
It's available on Amazon.
Yes.
And it's by Nate Parker, right? Who also did the Nat Turner movie. Yeah.
He did the Nat Turner movie. Yes. That's right. And he wrote and directed this. I think that we should all see this. White folks should look at this.
Produced by Spike Lee.
That's right. That's right. It's powerful. And so, I think that when we start to unpack ourselves what our experience is, then we can start to find possibility. Because right now, it's hard for us to see possibility when we are confronted with the violence that's happening, or the gun shootings and the loss of lives. And I just want to tie it into something that the brother said about John getting shot. John getting shot. When you talked about that, initially I was very nervous about coming on, and especially with Malcolm here.
I'm nervous right now.
I was very nervous.
The wrong day. I said today is Thursday. I'm so nervous that you don't even understand, okay? I said, it's welcome to Thursday, and he said, today's Tuesday, Malcolm. So I'm nervous. So go ahead.
So when you talked about that, I had to get present to what was going on in my body.
Right.
Yep. What did I feel in my body when that story was told?
I'll never forget that.
And we don't pay attention to that. So trauma lives in our bodies when we see it, when we experience it, when we hear it, and when we don't pay attention to our bodies. If we look in our community, the chronic illnesses that occur in our community is because we are holding trauma. Racial trauma, we're holding trauma of the things we've seen out there on the streets, we're holding trauma of the things we've experienced. Because Malcolm, even when you said the guy pulled the gun out the window and somebody was in the car and said, no, man, that ain't him, that's Malcolm.
Yep.
That was like a blessing. It was like, you know, that was like divine for you.
Yes. If that guy wasn't there, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, so that even is somewhat traumatic. And I'm not saying that we all experience in a situation the same way and to the same extent.
Right.
But until we can help our people unpack the trauma, we are going to continue to be going in this circle about what are we going to do about this. We're not going to do anything about it. We're not going to do anything about it until we are in that conversation about the impact of it on us, on our bodies, on our hearts, on our minds, on our souls.
Wow.
That's when we will start to see how we can change something or transform something in our community for us. And so with that, I'm going to leave you with a group of women. We are sponsoring an event. Well, T is actually sponsoring the event. It's called The Ways and Wonders of Black Women.
Okay.
It's an intergenerational experience. And what we're doing is unpacking how Black women have had to manage and produce with nothing in terms of being magic, but also some of those ways that keep us from being able to hold our men in a way that will allow us and them to be liberated from this system. And so I'd like to invite anyone that's that's in this space, in this community, to look for this event on March 31st at 7 p.m. And yes, we have people who are talking, but we're going to do an experience. It's going to be so different. We're losing, we're going to provide an experience as opposed to a talking experience. The community will be in conversation. And the way you can get to that is you can go to the tgroup.org, or you can, it's spelled T-H-E.
Now he's hitting your foot. Now he's tapping your foot. Now he's tapping your foot. That's right. Get him back. Equality. Tap her foot down. Tell her.
It's T-H-E.
He finally said, you know what? I'm going to tap your foot down. Go ahead.
But that's how we do, right? We're supposed to do that like this, right?
He let you run it for a minute, and then you run it for the rest of the day. Okay, y'all go back and forth with it.
So tell them. So finish
tell us about the T group. Go ahead.
Okay, so you can reach out to the T group, T-H-E, capital T, capital E, capital A, capital GROUP.org. That's one way you can reach us. And another way, once you go there, you can call us. We have an 800 number. You can reach out and find out more information. And the 800 number is 1-844-949.
He's selling the numbers.
949-8726. So please, I will send you all, some information. Perhaps you can just put it out there.
We're going to support it. We're definitely going to support it. We're definitely going to support your movement and try to do all we can do for it. But you know what? Before you go, right? I just want to say this. For years, I've been thinking of this to myself about crime. How is it able to slow down crime? And I say this, a lot of laws was made years ago, right? So a lot of stuff didn't change, right? So I say to myself, why is it that people can shoot somebody like when John got shot in front of everybody, right? The reason why is because the guy knew that everybody that was watching, no one was going to say anything, right?
Yes.
And the reason why no one's going to say anything, in my opinion, is because of a law that was made years ago, and that is when you accuse somebody, you got to testify against them. You literally got to say it in the courtroom and say it's him. And they say, well, can you point to the guy? You point.
So all your information is
so why can't you testify by satellite, or you don't even have to be seen? That law, if they let people point somebody out without having to be in court, without having to point to the guy, his own cousin is going down him out for the reward money. Right now, you got to sit in the courtroom and point the guy out. Well, nobody's doing that.
I'm going to answer your question with a very simple question. How do you think that would work out for black people?
People gonna start snitching.
But then they could just snitch on anything.
No, but it's still got to be the facts. But you don't have, as long as you don't have to, people will snitch if you don't have to sit in that courtroom and point to the guy and say he did it. Yeah. People, his own cousin is gonna snitch on him. See, right now,
that's before you even get to the jury process.
Right.
The jury process, the judge will ask you questions in front of the defendant.
That's what I'm saying.
Where do your kids go to school?
Right.
And that's the jury. That's not the witness.
If they change, to me, if they change that where you could testify against somebody without having to be there, I guarantee you it's going to be more people testifying against people.
But constitutionally, you had the right to face your accuser.
No, but they need to change that. They need to change that. They need to change that.
It's not going to have the impact you think it will.
Yes, it will. Because I'll be switching on.
Because people just said they did it.
Huh? No, you still gotta go through the same process of saying what you know, right? But you don't need to be sitting in there right next to the guy that you trying to put to prison for life. They need to change that.
You want to send like a car or something like that?
Listen, have me behind the screen. You can be behind the screen
with the voice thing.
Why do I got to see this guy and his whole family sit there at the same time? And then I got to catch the bus home. Anyway, listen, we're not gonna hold you.
That is so. What you just discussed. Those are the things, the questions we raise.
Right.
Those are the ways in which we have to start thinking. Is how do we impact the system, but how do we heal ourselves?
That needs to change. That needs to change. If they change, I guarantee you, if they change that, and with the reward money, the phones will be ringing off the hook. Right now, don't nobody want to go to court. I don't even want to go to jury duty, right? So don't nobody want to go to court. And you testifying against a guy that you try to put away for life.
But think about that too, because none of us want to go to jury duty. I went for jury duty. They picked me for the jury. I was the only one fighting for the system on that jury. Everybody else in that room was racist, except for the Spanish dude. He was cool, but he kept his mouth shut.
Right.
But had I not, and this is just a simple, she got car ran into the back of her. You know, the doctor, they were trying to figure out how much the doctor was going to pay this woman. They didn't want to give her nothing. White lady said she was lazy. This woman worked at a job for 25 years. She was crying on the stand because she was upset that she couldn't perform her job the way she was because of intense back pain.
Right.
They wanted to give this woman $20,000. I wasn't coming below 100. But at some point, I had to come down a little bit and meet him in the middle because I was the only holdout. We wound up getting that woman $60,000.
Oh, okay.
You know, but if I wasn't there to fight that fight, if I was, I got to pick up my kids from daycare, I got to do that, I got to come up with any old excuse, then that woman wouldn't have got justice, and she still didn't really get justice.
Wow. Well, we don't want to hold you. We don't want to hold you long. You have any final words, or you good?
No, I just think that these are the kind of conversations that need to come up in our community. They need to come up. And our organization, we are so willing to support conversations, and particularly as relate to young Black males having conversations with each other. Okay. And so I don't have it. You guys are like you're doing the do. That's
thank you.
Doing the do, just like you doing.
And I'm nervous. So, you don't know why I'm nervous, but I'm nervous, and I'm not myself right now. But I got through it. We good.
Well, Dr. Fatima, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
We will make sure we get Jackie to put
the information up. We're gonna put the information up in our link. Yep.
So you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
let me take over again.
Let me share with you that I'm finishing my doctorate on the subject.
Yes, sir.
And the question is, the solution is, how do we help our people be calm and be with peace?
Right.
And that's what this social intervention is about. Having our people with groups so that they can start to be in the peace inside themselves, where they don't have to do the retaliation gun firing, right? Retaliatory gun violence is a cycle that keeps going. Yeah. So we have to learn to break that cycle.
Yep.
100%.
100%. And thank you both. Thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know how to hang this thing up.
That's all right. I'll hang up.
I don't know how to do it. I guess they got to press the X. Oh, Bona Havens is.
I'll hang up.
I think you got to press the X or something. I don't know. Wow, that's deep.
You know what's interesting? When I was in, I had an art history class.
Right.
In the art history class.
Bona Havens.
Hold on, let me finish.
What's up, man?
In the art history class, there was a tribe in Africa that they had a space to settle all disputes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what it was like this big kind of cube-like thing, like made of mud, sticks, this, that, and the other, stone, whatever. And you had to go under here, and it was supported on sticks. So you had to go under there, but the thing is, you couldn't stand up.
Right.
So whatever dispute you had to have it out in that space, and you can't stand up and bark on nobody or nothing. It's just like, no, your goats is eating my meat and my vegetables, and we need to work this out. You owe me some carry shells or whatever. Right. But they worked it out. Anyway,
Bona Havens, how you doing? Philly Word Magazine. Real quick, tell the people who you are and all you do. This man is one of the smartest guys in the city right here. Go ahead.
Yes.
What's up, Malcolm? How you doing, brother?
All right.
All right. Yeah, you know, you asked me to come on to talk about the gun violence and everything. And as I told you, I'm a victim of gun violence. My father was murdered in Philadelphia in 1968. And you know what happens when a person is murdered? The result of him being murdered in '68 is affecting the family today. You know, my grandmother, his mother, every time that she saw me, she cried because, you know, I was his namesake. You know, and these are the things, and so I think she lived about 35, 40 years, you know, from the time he was murdered. She never recovered from that, you know, and that's the same thing throughout the city. You know, it's things that he would have done if he was here, but because he wasn't here, certain things in the family happen because, you know, certain people are those pillars of the family, you know. So gun violence goes way beyond just the time that the person actually gets, you know, gets murdered. So one of the things
like
that
the butterfly effect, right?
Huh?
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
Like the butterfly effect, because you know that it's like you know when you watch a movie and they be like, oh, we went back in time, oh, we changed something, and now this doesn't happen. You know what I mean? We don't know what some of these young lords would have been had they you know been with us. But please continue, brother.
Right. So now one of the things that I keep hearing from everybody is it's something outside that's causing people to be violent. It's some kind of force outside of the individual that's causing the person to be violent. It's not anything outside of the individual. It's not necessarily the system. Yeah, the system is against us, but we have a mind. We have to use our minds. Everything that's happening, everything that you see, the computer in front of you, the hat you have on, the shirt you have on, came out of the mind of man, right? So the violence, before somebody actually picks up a gun and shoots someone, it goes through a process in their mind. They're thinking about that. So the reality is we have to change the way that we think. we have to change and affect the way that people think. It's not a violence problem for real. It's a mind problem. We have the wrong mind, because again, just keep in mind that everything first starts as a thought in the mind. So if the mind was okay, if the mind was straight, there wouldn't be no violence. If that mind is thinking on a level of positivity, there would be no violence. So like the scriptures say, as a man thinks, so is he. So what we see is the result of the thinking of the people. You feel me? So now, how do we develop our thinking? Most people have the thinking of the world mind. So whatever the world says we agree with. So I say that there is no violence problem in Philadelphia. There's a lack of mind problem. There's 1.6 million people in Philadelphia. Every life is important, right? Yep. But there was 499 people who were murdered last year. They were all important. Don't get me wrong. But if you put those 499 on a radar screen with the 1.6 million, you will not see that 499. So part of the problem is that we're focusing on violence. We're telling people that it's a lot of violence out here, but the reality, we should be promoting peace. We should have advertisement promoting peace. The same way that on radio, there's all the sex, murder, and drugs galore. It affects the mind.
I'm going to get to that too. Yeah.
People are ingesting that. So we have to at least be able to balance that out. We have to have a major campaign, not only in this city, but around the country, to promote peace and show the alternative of what the mainstream media is showing through movies, through videos, and through the music. So again, I want to just reiterate that there is not a violence problem. There is a mind problem. The scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So right now, we have a community that needs their mind renewed. We need to focus on showing people how to properly use their minds. Like this in the Bible, and I keep going back to the Bible because that's what many people are familiar with. The Bible says something to the effect that let the mind of Jesus be in you. That we have those people who profess Christianity, they have the mind of God or the mind of Christ, you know? So we shouldn't fear. Like the scriptures say that God did not give us the spirit of fear. Many people are afraid to use their minds to create. So what's the result if someone used their minds? They're creating jobs, right? They're creating businesses, which creates jobs, which is what our youth who are creating violence need. They need all these things, but because we're so focused on an outside boogeyman, we're not looking at who is responsible. And we are responsible. The youth, the parent is responsible to make sure that their child is reading, writing, and spelling properly. You know, but we want to keep blaming somebody outside of ourselves. And I'm afraid that there is nobody outside of ourselves. And the system, the government has been doing the same thing for the last 50, 60, 70 years
400.
with no success. with no success because they're missing the key component, and that's the mind.
So he said exactly what I was saying. They're promoting all of the black on black crime. So basically what you're saying is they need to promote positivity. Like you're right. When they show the white stories, it's the flower show, it's the Mummers Parade, whatever. But when they show the black thing, it's all Southwest Philly, it's all the crimes. Right. It's all the crimes. So you're saying basically, like I was saying, almost what I was saying, is if they start to show some of the positivity that's going on, the people will see positive things and have something to look forward to. If you turn the TV
Right.
on, you seeing all the negativity, and you saying this is what's going on, and ain't nothing else going on. We don't know that the power show is going on.
So a conversation I've had with like young boys, especially when we talk about music, and you talk to them and they like, yeah, you just don't understand, you know, the music nowadays, this, that, and the other. And I was like, listen, I don't have a problem with music that's explicit. I don't have a problem with music, you know, that talks about street life. I was like, the difference between when I came up and now is that when I came up, there was a balance. So you could hear NWA, or you could hear, you know, some of the old cats like from the South and all that stuff. You can hear all of that, but then you would also hear Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Brand New, you know what I mean? Arrested Development. Like there was a balance so that, you know,
so you can hear some type of positivity instead of hearing all negativity. And that's basically what Obona is saying.
This is not a quick.
No, absolutely not. And while I do agree that, you know, I do agree with Brother Bartlett. Yeah, there's certain things that we need to do right here. Right. But that doesn't discount the outside influence. Like I can't take anything away from that.
So everything that you see in front of you is what was in somebody's mind, right?
True.
So what you see, basically, like Flip Wilson said back in the day, what you see is what you get, right? See right now is the result of failed leadership. This is what's in the mind of our leadership. Dirty streets, a violent city. Issues, you know, that certain things can't be done, but if we keep trying to do the same things that we've been doing and we see that they haven't worked, we have to try something different. We have to teach people how to use their minds. Without a vision, what are they visualizing? What kind of positive things do they see? What are we teaching our young people? What are we showing our city? You know, when we have dirt and trash piled all over the place, again, we have city leadership that's supposed to take care of that. But obviously, what's in their mind is this garbage and this filth, because they're doing nothing about it. So again, what you see is what you get. We see what's in the mind of the mayor. We see what's in the minds of the city council members. We see what's in their mind. They can't hide. They cannot hide from what they're thinking. I can see what they're thinking, because what you think, pollution of the, you got to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We got to show people how to properly use their minds, not just to tell them that it's not right to shoot somebody. That's not enough. Just to tell them, oh no, this is against the law. It's obvious that that's not enough. I mean, murdering have been against the law forever, right? And people are still murdering. So it's obvious that just by telling somebody that you're going to get a prison sentence if you rob somebody is not enough. We have, again, I'm going to close on this. The city of Philadelphia needs a major marketing and advertising campaign to not only stop the so-called violence, but to also keep the city clean. Because it's obvious that the people's minds are on filth. Their minds are not on a clean block. Their mind is not on a clean neighborhood. Their mind collectively is on a dirty, filthy block. And until they change their mind, it's going to remain that way.
Preach.
Got you.
Got you.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, Obona, we want to thank you, man. And tell them real quick where they can reach you at.
Oh, man, just keep in mind, too, we bringing Philly Word magazine back. You know, everybody says that we don't have the proper, you know, media out here to tell the real stories. Well, you know, we're about telling those real stories. We're looking for writers, some photographers, all you guys who are writing on Facebook and Instagram. You can have bylines now in a real publication and not just supporting the owners of Facebook and Instagram. We got to also start businesses and create businesses so that we, again, the problem is us. We're the problem and the solution.
Wow. I want to thank you, man. Thank you for logging on. I don't know how you log off, but Thank you.
We gotta connect.
Yeah.
No doubt.
This man,
Connect.
he
That's
actually interviewed me on Philly Word Magazine. He was the first person that ever interviewed me, and it was big. It was big for me. But Obona, I want to thank you, man, and I will see you Thursday. He is part of the Hill-Arious show too.
Oh yeah.
This is my man, part of the Hill-Arious show every Thursday night. Thank you, man.
All right, man. No problem. Appreciate it.
Peace. I don't know how you take off.
All right, now. Peace.
He got to do it. But anyway, listen, man. This show has been crazy today. So a couple of people gave some shout outs.
We got some folks here. Let's see. Art de la Soul.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. I Stand, Arise as Creation, 1982. Thank you. Peace.
Yeah.
King Ryan.
Shout out to you.
Over the Native Son.
Scooter, my young boy Scooter. He's a comedian, young boy Scooter. Yeah, Scooter's a funny guy.
Teacher 1130.
Nicole Spain, very, very funny, beautiful comedian is in the building. Thank you for watching. Listen, we want to thank everybody for watching, man. It was a great show.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
And I was nervous. I can't tell you why, but I was nervous. I even got my, I had to clean up a little bit, clean off a little bit, but I was nervous. But I want to thank everybody for joining, tuning in, man. Make sure y'all tune in next week, every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, because I said Thursday. Every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Make sure you tune in, man. It's been a great show. We out of here. Peace.